In this video, I'm going to show you 4 quick and easy ways to make your content more interesting and more appealing so that you attract more leads and buyers into your business. Let's make sure we're on the same page about content. Content is an expression. It's an expression of who you are, what you do, and who you serve. And when it comes to creating content, it is not about you. It is all about your audience. The goal and role of content is to shape the perspective and the beliefs of your audience so that they can see themselves achieving the goal or the result or the outcome that they desire. And when you're the person that's able to show them that, now they've developed a belief and trust in you and your ability to take them through a process that helps them to get that particular result. So, what are these 4 ways? I'm going to give you my acronym FAMS, FAMS. F stands for framework. When it comes to delivering your content online, using a framework is always going to be more interesting and more appealing because it's going to allow your audience to follow what it is you are saying. I want you to think about what a frame is. Let's say you go on vacation, you take a picture, you come back home. What do you do with that picture? You put it in a frame. Why? Because it is a memory that you want to create focus on. So you are drawing attention and focus to what you want your audience to focus on. So when you use a framework, you are giving your audience a list or a step or a 1, 2, 3 type of process so that way they can easily follow along and create a systematized way of thinking about what it is you are sharing. Let's be honest, there are a lot of information online. Everything these days is at your fingertips. You can chat GPT, you can Google just about anything. As a content creator, though, we're not just sharing information, we're sharing our transformational wisdom. And so when it comes to doing that, there can be a lot of nuance, there can be a lot of detail that helps to shape your audience's perspective. But that can also get a bit messy. So I always recommend creating a framework so that you can deliver from. It makes it easy for us as content creators to be able to deliver information in a framework, but it also makes it easy for your audience to consume. And we want to make sure we're making it easy for our audience to consume. If our content feels too difficult to consume, if it feels too hard or too challenging, your audience is going to be like, I got to work so hard just to pay attention. I'm not really picking up what you're putting down. But when you have a framework, step by step, a 1, 2, 3, it's easy for them to understand what it is you're saying. And when they understand, now they're more likely to become a lead and become a buyer. So you want to have a framework. Just think about this video for a second. I am giving you an acronym. This is actually a framework for you to use. And I've already listed it out. I said it's called FAMS, FAMS. And I've given you the F. And then I'm giving you some details underneath this F of framework on how you use it, how you create it. Okay. And so a framework is actually created by having a step-by-step process. So whatever nuance that you want to share, whatever wisdom, breaking it down into a step-by-step is always going to be helpful, not only for you as the creator, but also for your audience. So have these 1, 2, 3s, have this list so your audience can follow along. So that's F. A stands for analogy. Anytime you have something that you want to explain, then you want to use an analogy because it's going to create a picture in your audience's mind. The moment we're able to create a picture in their mind, they've now anchored their belief in what it is you are saying. So, an analogy, for example, could be something that helps to explain a concept or a principle that you might be sharing. One of my favorite analogies to actually use and talk about is people who feel stuck in their business. I describe it as a mountain. It's like you are traveling up the mountain, and for some reason, you feel as though you keep circling the middle of the mountain. It's like you gain some momentum, but then all of a sudden, it's like you got stuck. You don't know if you were going left, going right, but you keep thinking you're taking action and moving up the mountain, but you don't realize that you're actually circling the middle of the mountain. And then you keep feeling like things just aren't working. And then you recognize I'm still at the middle of the mountain. You haven't quite made your way to the top. You can see it. You can even believe it in your bones that this is going to happen. However, you're like, why am I still right where I was at maybe a couple months ago, maybe even a year ago? It's almost like you hit this stuck point. So that would be a mountain analogy where I'm using a mountain to describe what it's like when people get stuck in business. Whether you're stuck down at the bottom, you're stuck somewhere in the middle, or you're stuck kind of circling close to the top, you can still see it. You know you're closer. You've made some progress, but you're not quite there. So you can see I can stretch this analogy out, whether I'm talking to beginners that are at the bottom of the mountain, or I'm talking to people who are a little bit more seasoned, have gotten some momentum, but now they're kind of in the middle. And some people who, made some really good success, but still feel like they're not at the peak of what their potential is or what they know God has promised them. So I can use this mountain analogy. Find an analogy that helps to describe what it is you help your people to do, because now they can see that picture. And not only do they see that picture, but that seeing creates a feeling, and that feeling makes them create an attachment to you, an attachment to your content, which means that they want more of it. Because the more attached we become to the person that's helping us get somewhere or see something differently, it's like, I got to buy from this person. I got to figure out how to work with this person and get better results. Okay, so that's the A for analogy. The M stands for metaphor. Now, a metaphor and analogy are different. An analogy will, like I said, describe more of a larger concept, whereas a metaphor is more of a direct comparison. So I use a mirror metaphor. I always say that content is a mirror and a magnet. So content being a mirror, meaning that it will reflect who you are and it will attract who you are being. So whatever kind of content that you are creating online, it all comes from the heart. Anything that we create, any content that we put out, we're always speaking the words that are in our heart. So if you're speaking from a space of neediness, you need your audience to validate you, like what you're putting out, you need them to make you feel good, then you're speaking from neediness, because there's a place of insecurity within you. But when you're speaking from conviction, conviction means that you know that you can help your audience to get a result. A conviction is a firmly held belief. This is a belief that if somebody were to challenge it, you will not be shaken. That person cannot penetrate that belief system. It doesn't mean you're not open, doesn't mean you're not willing to shift or change your ideas, but it just means that you know you have an ability to help somebody get a result. So if that's what's in your heart, then that's what's going to reflect online. So content is a mirror, because the mirror is reflective of who you are, and then you're also attracting who you are being. And then I also say that it's a magnet. A magnet will attract, a magnet will also repel. So you can see that is just a direct comparison. So find a metaphor that works for you and your business. And you might have many analogies and you might have many metaphors. You could also have many frameworks as well. So you're not just bound to one. But once you start using this acronym, you're going to start to understand how easy it is for you to create content. If you ever feel stuck, if you are on a podcast or you're feeling stuck in your content, when you start training yourself to think in FAMs, then you're going to have the analogies you need, the frameworks you need, the metaphors you need to be able to help your audience very quickly and very easily. The audience is going to stay engaged and they're going to be linked in. You're never going to be at a loss for words because you have your stuff basically in a Rolodex in your mind to be able to distribute online. All right, and the S, maybe you have guessed it. The S stands for stories. This is where you share stories either behind the scenes of your personal life, you share stories that you have encountered online, stories you've encountered in person, or even stories and testimonials of your clients. So this boils down to you're just conveying an idea and a message through a story that has happened. So I can tell you, for me, I came up with FAMs because as I was reading and understanding storytelling, I was like, oh, people are using frameworks, they're using lists, people are using analogies. I see metaphors in here. You want to create pictures in people's minds, you want to tell stories. And so I said, how can I come up with a way that I could remember this for myself, but also instill this on all of you so that you remember it easily as well. So FAMS, F-A-M-S, simple. So there's been a lot of content that we all consume, right? There's a lot of stories that you're going to gather along the way. Collect those stories to be able to share very relevantly when you're talking about a specific thing in your business. So when I'm talking about how I got started online, I'm going to always talk about the story of going to an internet marketing for newbies event back in 2014, where I was feeling tired and burnt out as working as a physical therapist. I'd only been working for a year, and I woke up one day and I was like, this cannot be my life. It's almost like I just popped out of bed and said that. So I'm telling you exactly what happened in that story, and I'm relaying the 2014 story. When I'm talking about speaking and people are asking me, wow, you're such a great speaker. And let's be real, I think I'm an okay speaker. I don't think I'm a great speaker. I'm working on my speaking. I'm getting better at my speaking. But I grew up with a really bad stutter, a terrible stutter. I couldn't even say my own name. And I remember very distinctly being in high school. I was at freshman high school orientation. I'm sitting on the grass in a circle and we're all waiting to introduce ourselves. And I was counting like how many people until my turn because I was practicing saying my own name in my head. And I was honestly thinking, what a dummy. Who has to practice saying their own name in their head? But by the time it got to me, I tripped and stuttered over my own name. It was like sh. I couldn't even say Siobhan. And I just remembered all the girls, because I went to an all-girl Catholic high school, all the girls were laughing. And I was like, are they laughing at me? They can't be laughing with me because I am not laughing. So when I talk about speaking, I'm going to always relay back to my stutter. And I'm always going to relay back to that moment where my body memorized that speaking leads to humiliation, because that's what it felt like in that moment. I was mortified that I couldn't say my own name. You see, that was the story. So I want you all to find the stories that are relevant for what you are teaching and relevant that your audience is going to be able to see themselves in that story. Give details as well. I said I was sitting on the grass in a circle. So what are you doing? You're imagining girls like sitting in a grass. And I said I was counting to see how many to my turn. If you are somebody who has a fear of speaking, and you remember speaking out loud in school and you're like, okay, how many people until me? And you're counting to see what paragraph you might need to read, you're preparing yourself. Someone is going to relate to that. Even if it's not the exact story, there's a feeling around it where you might have recognized you said something maybe dumb, or you said something that just like didn't show your best. And you're like, ooh, people are laughing at me. I'm sharing a story where the girls were laughing at me. So now you have some kind of resonance or relatability to see, I've been through something. I didn't just pop on social and start talking. I used to go live in a private Facebook group where it was just me, so I could practice speaking. I could practice speaking to a camera, then practice speaking to pillows on my couch, and then finally being able to get up in front of the room and recognizing that I've grown out of my bubble, but that's still a story. And so I'm going to share that story. So find your story. But this is the easiest way for you to be more compelling online with your content. You're going to draw in more people, because content is not just about buy my thing, wanting people to buy your thing. We have to talk about our ideas and our message so that the message paves the way to your offer. Not just buy my thing, but you've paved the way, you've primed them, you've actually prepped your audience to understand what it is you do, understand how you do it, and most importantly, how the way that you do it is the best way for them to get results. So I trust that this video has served you and blessed you. I do have a free resource down for you in the description box. It is the 7 biggest content marketing mistakes. It is a free training that's going to help you understand what are the mistakes you're making, how to avoid them, what to do instead. And I promise you, number 6, what everyone tells me is blowing their mind. This is the one that is most missed, and people don't realize that they are doing it. So I will post that link down below for you to grab. Share this video with a business bestie, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.